You have to go into Housewives pretty sure of who you are. I'm very, very blessed because most of my shit is already out. I'm not an easy one to bring down. Pick on somebody else, girls.
I actually had one of the producers from Beverly Hills reach out to me recently, and your name kept coming up, and I was like,
And I ended up meeting a 24-year-old, and not one person in my life thought that this was a good idea. I was in a full-blown midlife crisis. You're really, really one step away from a completely different life. I sent him on dates with other women. I actually Googled every May to December relationship everywhere and said none of them have worked, not one.
Do you have any advice for people who specifically are in that place in their relationship where they feel like it's not the right relationship for them?
It is the worst place for any woman to live. You should renegotiate marriages and relationships every 7 years.
I joke with my current boyfriend now. I'm like, I want a 10-year contract. It's important to check in and make sure that you're growing in the same direction.
It's always like, oh, all the men are shit. No, they're not. Not all the men aren't shit. What you get back, what you give off. If you're guarded, you're always thinking the worst. It's what you're going to get.
What has been the biggest thing that's contributed to your confidence? You seem like you're just unflappable.
I think the best version of myself is now. I am the most relaxed, weirdly, at 49 than I've ever been. Confidence, at the end of the day, we all shit our pants, but it's being able to do that and still do it.
I am really excited to talk to you about all of the beauty and aging and relationship things. I feel like we are kind of aligned in a lot of those areas. So you're a guest that I've been wanting to have for so long. So welcome.
Oh, thank you. So happy to be here. And I love that. I mean, I love to be interviewed by another beautiful woman sitting here. My husband is very happily sitting in the corner listening to us.
His face right now, I wish you guys could see. Well, yeah, I'm very excited to meet you as well. I feel like, you guys are the dynamic duo. And I definitely want to ask you a lot of relationship questions. I have been in the opposite situation where I was in a big age gap relationship with an older man, my ex-husband. So we'll get into all of that. But I want to just start by talking to you about how you've kind of reinvented yourself. You've gone through a lot of different versions of yourself very publicly. So what is the version of you that you are the most proud of?
I think the version of me, it's funny you've just asked me this question because I've literally just finished another podcast and they've asked me the same question. So it must be apparent. So thank you. I think the best version of myself is now, because I think when you're younger, you sort of want to be the perfect wife. You want to be the perfect mother. You want to be the perfect businesswoman. You want to sort of give off this way. Then when I became a reality star, obviously you become, you are you, but you're a pumped up version of you. And I am the most relaxed, weirdly, at 49 than I've ever been. Take me or leave me. And I think that is a really, really comfortable way to be. And I would say the most powerful thing that a woman can have. And if you asked me to go back to my 20s, I'd absolutely say no. This has been the best era of my life.
I definitely feel that way in my 30s as well, my late 30s. So do you think that that's something that comes with age or just getting comfortable being in the public eye? I mean, it definitely, I'm sure, gives you thicker skin and you have to be really comfortable with yourself if you're putting yourself out there in that way.
I think it's age. I think every woman will get this ride, thank God. I don't think it's about being famous or not. I do think, the way that we have, the world is today anyway, everyone has a degree of fame, right? You have a window into everybody's world. So it's not so much about being on TV or anything like that anymore. In fact, probably I get more views on my TikTok than I probably do for an episode of Housewives, right? So that's what's so interesting, that you can have that, I can have that, our producers can have that. It doesn't matter who you are. It's just one video click away. So I really believe it's just being comfortable and learning over time exactly who you are.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's really leveled the playing field. Where fame is just different now. I mean, it's accessible to anybody. How do you stay grounded though? Because I feel like, especially with housewives, like you see people go through that process and it seems like it brings out the worst in people and can really be a mind. And I actually had one of the producers from Beverly Hills reach out to me recently, and they were like, oh, we had some meetings and your name kept coming up. And I was like, absolutely not.
Look, I think you have to go into Housewives pretty sure of who you are. It is a mind. But, I have been on 2 shows now. And, although the girls do go for me and I understand why, at the end of the day, look, you guys, the people out there, have been following me since Ladies of London. That's a good, 12, 15 years at this point, right? So you can see through the. I'm very, very blessed because most of my is already out. So I'm not an easy one to bring down. Pick on somebody else, girls. But the one thing I would say is, just when you're sure of who you are and what your reasoning behind things are, you don't need validation from anyone else. And that's one thing I'm learning. When you set boundaries, people automatically don't like it anyway. So you're going to lose a lot of friends.
Yeah, I want to talk about confidence a little bit as well, because I feel like that ties into all of this. So what has been the biggest thing that's contributed to your confidence? Because, you seem like you're just unflappable.
I'm not unflappable. Sometimes, before I start doing something, I go, but then I just walk in and do it, right? I do panic. I do a lot of firsts. I've just launched women's retreats now that was, I was like, will anyone just show up? Maybe no one's coming, and maybe they're coming for like a more spiritual experience and I'm not this spiritual person. And what if they all, start breaking down about their marriages and need me to hug them all the way through? I'm also the wrong person. But it's funny, what you put out, you get back, right? And I literally got mini me's. I got power bitches came, okay? They were like, probably I was the least successful person in that room. One of them was running for Congress. One of them was like, worked with Condé Nast. One of them was like, 3 of them had retired. And I'm like, why are you all here? But, genuinely women, we all know our path and we know what we have to do. We just need validation sometimes and someone just to push you off that ledge. Confidence is BS at the end of the day. We all shit our pants, to put it mildly, but it's being able to do that and still do it.
Yeah, it's like feel the fear and do it anyway. I got the second chance at 28 to completely start over. And so when I feel that fear, I'm just like, I remember that, and that's the thing that motivates me. Who is that person for you, though, that helps to push you? Is it your husband? You kind of have to say that.
He would say yes, but no. I honestly think, okay, you had that epiphany when you were 28. I probably had it when I was at boarding school, because boarding school is a lot of things. I went from the age of 6 to 18. So, every day was fearful, right? You have all your firsts there and there's no one that there to take care of you, right? So at some stage, you have to get over the fear. You're living with people you don't know. You are only allowed out, or you have 2 phone calls a week, because I've lived, half of my life in a room full of women I didn't like. Right? You learn how to navigate things. You learn how to deal with things, and you learn how to pull your own socks up. And I think it's a very, very powerful thing. Like, did I enjoy it? No. But did it teach me a lot of things for the rest of my life? Yes.
I went to rehab with a lot of women that I didn't like. And it was like the same
it's just
thing.
As long as you're fully crossed that bridge and there's no drink you're going to reach for, because otherwise you will be back in rehab within the first week.
Well, that was the thing. I was like, I would be the most boring person to watch on TV because I don't drink. I go to bed early. I go to the farmer's market. I don't have, I'm not confrontational at all.
We've just discussed that you've managed to keep this podcast going for 5 years. So if you were boring, that wouldn't be happening. You'd be off air very fast. So
I have interesting people on.
Well, there must no. There's you've got to bring the confidence back out.
Yeah.
You're very softly spoken. You sound like a much nicer human than me. But I do feel that there must be, to go through what you've been through and come out the other side and still be a nice person. Look. You don't have to be mean. You have to stand up for yourself. I believe that you are sat here and you've got through rehab, which can't be easy at that age as well on your own, and to reinvent yourself and have a second chance. You must have gone through hell and gone through the other side. Well, that's confidence.
Yeah.
And that's something, someone's in there that's making, and you've managed to get here and say it. So I think you're not giving yourself enough credit.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you. I think I need to go on one of your retreats if this is what we're going to talk about.
Maldives, November 9th.
No way.
You come. Yeah.
So what happens in these retreats?
Well, you know what? I was winging it just like you, because I didn't know, because I work with a lot of women who are divorced. I know I work with a lot of women in their 40s, that comes sort of stuck, or growth of business. I didn't know why people were coming, because business is business, whether you are working in law or you're working in a store or you're working in fashion, it's all the same, right? You have the same problems going through business and scaling, or employees, or whatever it is that you get stuck on. So I didn't know why the women were coming. I did a lot of surveys, but you can never know till you're in that room. And out of 25 people so far, and we've only been out 3 days, three women have already paid to come to Maldives. I'm like, oh my God. Because I can only do 25 at a time because we do one-on-ones. But what goes on is everybody sort of says where they're from and what they're looking for. So some people are looking for the next chapter of their life. Some of those women were retired from very powerful businesses and, now at home, they thought they could sit at home, but they're only, in their late 40s. And now what? It's kind of that now what feel, right? So we come out with the answers and we have a clear path to your next steps. And everyone walked away with it, including me, by the way. I got just as much from these ladies as they did from me. And it was really mind-blowing. I really see it now. And also because they were all followers of mine and had come through the podcast, they were very like-minded. So they all connected with each other. So we made amazing friendships and something like that because they all took a chance, just like you were saying.
Yeah.
Everyone took a chance to be there. And I think, it's a very, very powerful thing. And what I've understood since COVID and everything, people miss community. They're missing that connection. And that 3 days, all of them came on their own, right? Nobody knew anybody. 25 women. One woman flew 17 hours from Australia. She cried for the first 2 days. She'll laugh at this because it's okay. She cried for the first few days. And by the end, her shoulders had gone down. Her smile was up. And she's like, this is the best thing I've ever done for myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's got to be so gratifying for you as well.
It was amazing. And I don't know what we're doing, but it's going to be very powerful. It's an amazing, amazing journey. So you're more than welcome. Do come.
What is the date again? You said it's next
November
fall?
9th.
Okay. Noted. You might see me there. What was the time in your life that you felt the most stuck? Because I'm sure it attracts people who are, like you said, looking for connection, but also you mentioned like relationships. I know for myself, like I would love to talk a little bit about that and how you moved through that because you seem like you're at a point in your life now where, you said in the beginning, you acknowledge it's the best time in your life.
Yeah.
And I think that's inspiring for people to hear because I know a lot of the people that follow me are kind of in that place where they're feeling stuck. They're feeling kind of like they're in limbo. Like,
what's my purpose?
Yeah.
And that's the questions I got asked the most. And I'll tell you, I think, why am I qualified as well was a question. We all have imposter syndrome. Like, obviously, I'm not calling myself a guru, a coach. There are other people speakers that I bring that if you want that kind of, proper background. But what I do feel I have is I've been through everything. And, I think my worst part of my life or the hardest part is leaving a marriage, after 18 years. I was being sued for over $5 million. So I would have gone bankrupt or he was going bankrupt and nobody wanted me to go through with it. Everyone told me to settle and it was over 8 years of my life. So it was a long time. And I just, for all of you out there that don't know the story, it is public record, but knock yourselves out with it if you want to. But I won everything. But it was a very hard thing to go through. And then I, ended up meeting a 24-year-old and not one person in my life thought that this was a good idea. Obviously, I think they thought I was in a full-blown midlife crisis.
How old were you at the time?
43.
Okay.
So, and I probably thought I was in a full-blown midlife crisis. But, again, we're here 7 years on. So, some things worked. And I would just say to people that, you're really, really one step away from a completely different life. And when you put it like that, the change is so easy. 3 people left my retreat to quit their jobs. Okay, one woman was sick, and the job was an 80-hour work week for her. And I was like, you simply can't afford to be here. And then we looked at her finances. And a lot of women don't know how to look at finance. Can you afford to be there? And I actually worked out she'd be richer if she wasn't there.
How so?
Because she had a lot of assets. I mean, I don't want to go too deep into it, but yeah. I figured out how to make those work for her, weirdly. And she just hadn't seen it because I think she was so overloaded with information and so trying to be cured by so many different people. I said, actually, I prefer you don't come on my next retreat because I feel like instead of listening to a whole load of different people, you need to sit with yourself, right? And take this time for you. Then I think a lot of people are scared by their own finances. And that's what's so funny. They have the answers right in front of them. And I think by coming to one of these retreats where you don't know anyone, so I have no hidden agenda to you, whether you stay where you are or you don't. So people kind of listen to you more. I had 2 women that were breaking up afterwards.
Divorce?
One was a boyfriend, but they'd been together 12 years, which is just like a divorce, really.
That's rough.
So yes, and one was really separated for a long time. She'd actually been through one of my ones before and hadn't done it. And this time she actioned it. And I was like, well, there's no point coming to the next one if you're not going to like take the next step. And I think it's just, having that accountability too. And they all made a lot of friends. So I think it's things like that. When you actually put everyone in a room like that, it's funny how similar the questions are. From mid-30s to late 40s, everybody's wondering the same thing. They want an easier kind of life, or these women that were already at the top of their game. So are you going to go and build another big business? Probably not. But you want to do something, right? You don't want to sit at home and just look at your husband and your kids every day, because that won't fulfill you, because we've got another 50 years, right? We're not dying at 50 anymore. So it's what's next.
Do you have any advice for people who specifically are in that place in their relationship where they feel like it's not the right relationship for them, and yet they can't? Yeah.
Yes. Biggest mistake, because what you're doing is prolonging the inevitable.
Yeah.
Not only are you prolonging the inevitable, it is the worst place for any woman to live. And I did it for 5 years through my end of my marriage, because if you've got kids or you've built a life together, it's so difficult, and you think it's going to get better, and everyone tells you the grass isn't greener, and just go to therapy. And I personally, I'm not a big advocate of that, because if I've thought for this long, I don't believe a therapist is going to tell me, that by having weird and wonderful sex in a weird place with my husband, that's going to bring everything back to me. Maybe for a minute, who knows? But, that's just, it's for all the wrong reasons, right? You're staying, it's not even fair to them. If you are sitting constantly wishing you were somewhere else, or your house is the most lonely place you've been, then you're in the wrong relationship. Like, we can't wait to stay home. And this is not me trying to be a smug couple, because I've always said, look, maybe things change down the road, but like for either of us, for anyone, you never know where you're going to end up. But right now, it's great. If you don't have any kids yet, what the f are you doing?
Yeah.
Why would you be thinking about this? Leave. There is somebody for everybody. Somebody for everybody. But you'll never meet the right person while you're sat in that, because the kind of man that wants the person that's in and out of a relationship at that stage isn't the man that you particularly want anyway. And you're not whole, because you're like, anyone that's living a double life knows that the lie's over there, the lie's over here, it's exhausting. You can't be free. You can't say, so many women stay 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I'll just wait till I find somebody else. That won't work. That will never work.
I agree with that. I went through that too. We were only married for 5 years, together for 8, but largely because of the age difference.
What was the age difference?
Like 30 years.
That's a big age difference.
Yeah. I was like 30 and he was around 60 when we met.
Yeah.
And, initially, like, I always say this, and I don't think that people believe me, but it was true. When we first met, I didn't notice the age difference really at all. Because, we shared a lot of commonalities, and one huge thing being sober. And in my sober life, I have friends that are like 20 and I have friends that are 90.
Did you meet him in rehab by chance?
Off mic? Yeah. No, not in rehab. In AA. I was a couple years sober when we met. But that's like a huge thing. So I felt like we spoke the same language. We had, that common bond.
But do you think you met him at a weak moment? I wonder if that was it, and you were looking for someone to look after you rather than the right thing for you, because if you're just out and you're not fully recovered, you don't even know who you are yet without the alcohol.
I was a few years sober. I had a lot of work
still to do.
Done. A lot of work done and a lot of work still to do, but I was very young. Getting sober at 28 when the prior 10 years had been a complete shit show. It was almost like I stopped growing mentally at 18 when I started doing drugs and alcohol. So 28 years old, I was like a little, baby bird. Like, I had no clue.
Who you were.
So when I met him around 30 or 31, even though I had made a lot of progress, I look back now and I'm like, God, like, what did I know? And even to his credit, he said, you're not going to want this in 5 years. You're not going to want this in 10 years. You're going to be such a different person. And I'm just like defiant, and I want what I want when I want it.
I think that's what we all say. That's what I said to him when we started. I was like, you don't understand. I sent him every picture of a 70-year-old woman versus what he would look like. And I'm like, this cannot
but your
work.
70 is going to look insane.
Well, I've got way more energy than him. And he's definitely on his toes. He'll be too old for me when we get there, trust me.
That's so fun. I joke with my current boyfriend now. I'm like, I want a 10-year contract. He's older than me, but not by as much.
They do say that.
Really?
Yeah, because, you want different things. And, by renegotiate, I think, well, we did it the other day, didn't we? We set which boundaries, what are non-negotiables for us? Like not bad. That's my whole thing. We're like lying in bed laughing. Like I want like these things to happen. And you said you want these things to happen. And that's it. It doesn't have to be sat with a contract. I mean, literally just an open conversation. I have changed a little bit. These things are important to me. This is what I want in life, because you do change. You are going to change. I know you don't believe it. You think you are the whole human you are. You're going to change. Sorry, my husband's in the room for those of you that don't know.
We should give
I'm
him
talking
a mic.
to him. I know, literally. There isn't another one, or we would. Are going to change a million times over.
Yeah. And I mean, you should always be growing as a person. And I think it's important, to your point, to check in and make sure that you're growing in the same direction. And that was the issue that I had with my ex, was that we were growing. My career was going this way. He was kind of
winding down.
I don't think he'll
probably.
ever slow down, actually.
No?
Like he has way more going on than I do. And he's in the public eye and all of that. But like we were going like this. And
are you friends now?
Very good friends. I saw him yesterday.
And
yeah.
do you feel the age difference was something that you began to really notice?
Very much so.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was because of the age itself. I think it was like, there was just a lot going on, like we had a really big life. We were traveling all the time. It was exciting. It was fun. We shared a lot together. And then COVID happened. And in COVID, like we both slowed down. And I think that was when we were kind of confronted with like, oh, we do have this chasm between us because of this age difference. And you guys are what, 19?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 19 and 30, I think, is very different.
We find the difference between us is what bonds us, weirdly. That's what's made us closer. So I don't know, but 30 is and it's also a man, right? I feel like men age faster than women, full stop, right? So I wonder whether that's also different.
Yeah, I mean, it just got to the point where we knew that it wasn't working. We separated. And we were about to get divorced. And then we decided to try again. And then we separated again. So it was like, but years, to your point of what you were talking about before, that turmoil, that bleeds into every other aspect of your life. And I have so much compassion for anyone who's going through it, especially, with kids and when things are complicated. For us, it was very cut and dry. It doesn't make it easy, but there were no kids. We had things already worked out. So it was like not the most traumatic, drawn out thing. But those few years of living with that turmoil and kind of knowing what to do, but, not being sure. I mean, there's a lot of fear. I think that there's a lot of fear in the narrative around dating. And you mentioned it as well, of like, the grass isn't greener and it's so hard out there. And I think that keeps people in it too long as well. And there is somebody for everybody.
There's somebody for everybody. I want to keep stressing that. And if you're the right human, right? If you're guarded, you're always thinking the worst. It's what you're going to get. And I find that in business. Like if I'm having a day, I'll wake up and I'll go, okay, today's not great. I'll see. And then suddenly I'll just like try and, zone myself back, open the window, listen to the river and go, today's going to be a great day. And then your whole day changes. People smile at you. People look differently at you. Good things happen, right? And everything's about energy. I've understood. And
yeah.
I'm not an airy-fairy person at all. Like I'm shocked this stuff is coming out of my mouth. Who am I?
I'm not like very woo either, but I believe that as well. And I think that when you're living in that limbo place, at least for me, I was very stuck and opportunities and things like that just weren't making their way to me. And as soon as I made that move, it was crazy.
I feel like that, since we've been paused on Housewives, it kind of feels like that too, because I haven't had to be fighting off for who I am, what I've done with my life, all of these things that the girls were doing to me, the negative energy that I was getting in. And we have just flown. Like we are literally, and people are seeing Sergio and I in a different light. It used to be like he was just, this puppy following me around. And they actually see now that he's, his own human, his own person. And I always say he's not weak. He's incredibly strong, because not many of his friends, when he has to justify, not even justify, are dating much older women. We live in the Middle East. We are the only ones.
Yeah. At what point did you start to feel like, okay, this isn't, some kind of crisis when you guys started dating? At what point did you accept it for yourself?
I showed him pictures of all older women. I actually Googled every May to December relationship everywhere and said none of them have worked, not one. In fact, there was nobody that had worked.
With an older woman, younger man?
Yes, this way round. And I was like, look, we're not going to be the first. There must be a reason for this. But now it's become quite popular. Like now it's a thing. So, look how things changed.
There have been movies about it.
You were a trailblazer, honey.
And you don't have a mic, but I mean, you have to be very persistent to have gone through all of that. He just knew what he wanted.
He drove 6 hours to take me on a date.
Oh, he's coming on.
Yeah, here. 6 hours to take me on a date and drove with his little car from, where was it, Madrid to Marbella. Yeah.
Oh my God.
He never gave up. And do you remember when you were on holiday with all those little young girls? Where were you? In Corsica or something?
In Croatia.
And you kept FaceTiming. I was like, look, this is where you're meant to be.
It was so funny. She was completely against it. She was just, it's not going to work. We're not going to go anywhere because all her circle was telling her that, she was crazy for doing it. And all of a sudden, I think at some point you just didn't listen to anyone and you just stick to the feelings.
Well, you know what I did? No, I'll tell you what I did. I remember when it clicked to me. I was like, well, I'm not leaving my husband because of him. I was leaving anyway. So I was like, it doesn't matter if it doesn't work. Like, I'm not putting all my eggs in this basket. I'm just having a good time until I don't have a good time. And I said the same to him. I'm like, I said, look, you will stay doing this until we're not happy doing this.
Actually, she's lying. She literally clicked since the beginning. Come on, be honest, honey.
No, I did. Yeah. But I just didn't believe it would be real because nobody told me this was real. They're like, oh, he's one of those, what are they called? Love bombers?
Yeah.
Like a love bombing,
But we had something from the beginning, we click. And all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, this is something strange. Then we stick to it. We had, the energy and the connection was there. But we just, slowly it grew into something bigger.
We're definitely more connected today than we were even when we met.
What do you attribute that to? Sounds like you're good communicators.
Very good communicators. Yeah. We did everything at the beginning. We really worked on it.
Very transparent, like,
what we like, what we don't like. We set time for each other. We work together. We have the same goals. I guess that helps, but we're very different. And, we have both decided, like after a long time, because we fought through it, which was like, we're not trying to change the other person anymore. And I think that helps.
We have a lot of fun, which I think is very important. But what she said, I think we share the same vision, of where we're going. And I think that's very important,
Like where we want to be. Like we both know exactly
what's
where
the goal, why we're working so hard for
together,
what. And I think we share the same thing.
And he, at the end of the day, I think it works even more because he's always respected me. He may not agree with me, but he respects me.
I think the hardest is when people want to change, the other person, because obviously we have a big age gap, and there's so many things I don't like about her, but the balance is
is?
Yeah, a lot of things. The same you with me, honey, but the balance is like
they annoy me.
Yeah, 80-20, I like 80, the 20, they're literally, like.
Yeah, and we go to bed every night, like we go to bed literally with our toes. We go the opposite side, we look away from each other, with our toes together, and then one hand at the back, like this, and that's how we fall asleep every night.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
I think it's the balance.
Because he likes to cuddle. I hate to cuddle. There's the balance. I can't cuddle. Like I'm going to go up in flames.
She literally goes to bed and she lays down on the farthest point of the bed. There is like 2 meters between us, and I'm like,
because he comes and it's like this, like it's like a hot blanket coming towards me. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to like burn.
I can do a little, but not when it's time to sleep.
It's like lie here.
Yeah. What's the point of sleeping together?
He's like, you're a golden retriever. He's a golden retriever. Yeah.
And
I'm dating a golden retriever as well.
Yeah. She's literally a rock. So imagine.
Yeah. So we've come to a very good place. Our feet can touch, one hand can touch.
I do the hand thing too.
Exactly. It's behind, and then we go our separate ways.
Yeah.
And that is slowly, if I get closer, it turns into a little more.
I have to wake him up because it just you think I don't know you're there, but the heat, really? I know you're there.
You feel it?
Yes, I feel it.
You guys read as the same age. I mean, you seem like very even. I don't look at you, and I'm not talking to you going, you're so much younger. Oh, is that why?
Yes, now, and I've had a facelift, so it took 20
So it's like the beard and the facelift together. We
you
guys
like
we look perfect.
Right?
Yeah. It's not weird anymore.
You met in the middle. Yeah. I love it. I want to talk about the facelift thing and all of the beauty things.
The worst thing that happened in my life.
Yeah, I want to hear the man's perspective because
so painful.
when I had surgeries with my ex, I mean, he was like, no. Because for him, I think that he felt helpless and scared and like you can't do anything, right?
Let me tell you, this horrible person, literally, she told me she was going on a 30-minute surgery and I had to wait outside with a smoothie and flowers.
I told him I'd be out in 30 minutes, like I was doing threads.
When you got the facelift?
Yeah, 4 hours after, she comes out and I just look at her and she's in a wheelchair, fully wrapped, like a dead person. And, I'm like crying. I'm like, oh my God, where's my wife? So
now I see it, okay? Now I understand his perspective. Imagine, like, when you get older women that want to be young and maybe they've done it when they're 70 or, older. And I think that's, you shouldn't wait, women. Ladies, if you're listening, don't wait. If you're in your mid 40s, go for it. What I think he didn't realize, or I didn't realize, was how he was scared that I was going to look old trying to be young. Right? Those women that you kind of very, very swept back that look like they've had surgery. So, therefore it just doesn't work. Right? So he thought he was never going to get the feeling back from me. Now, anyone that's had a facelift knows the doctors have to pull back your skin way tighter than it would be because I never watched it and maybe I should have. And I'm glad I didn't.
No, you don't want to know how the sausage is made.
Exactly. No. So he told me, I'm going to pull your skin way tighter than it's going to need to be because obviously when the swelling goes down, you still want to be tight. So all of these things that he saw, and also nobody told me that half your face heals differently from the other half. So you go through this very weird phase where one half is higher than the other and you look like an alien because the blood's moved here. And he was like, oh my God, this is what I'm going to be stuck with for the rest of my life.
For me, it was, okay, I fell in love with Caroline Stanbury. I fell in love with, obviously the inside, but also the outside is very attracted to me. So then she comes out of this surgery in a wheelchair, fully wrapped on whatever. And then I put her to bed and she's just, it's like a bubble, it's like a muffin. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to love her again because she's not attracted to me. I want that feeling back.
And then what did you say to me the other day? That this was the best decision. Love it.
After going through the worst literally week of my life, it was just...
Week?
Yeah, sorry.
Like for the rest of your life, this is amazing. It was a week.
Yeah, but I didn't...
Okay,
but the thing
let me tell anyone considering this, do not do this with your husband. This was the biggest mistake of my life. So let me explain. My husband was a soccer player. So he doesn't even take an Advil. He thinks an Advil is a swift line of cocaine. This is my husband, right? So I don't know why I put him in charge of my drugs.
No, that's the biggest.
And by drugs I mean codeine or whatever they gave me, right?
The biggest mistake she did
was let you administer my
manage
drugs.
The care.
No, it was not that actually. It was the first 2 days after the surgery.
I should have been in a facility.
We should have gone to facilities. We stay at home and Sergio was the nurse. Yes. I have no idea.
So when the doctor said 6 hours before your next pill, what they really mean is 5.5 because it takes a good half an hour for a pill to kick in.
No one told me anything. I was literally looking after her and I had no idea.
So I was calling everybody going, how do I get him out of the fucking house? I made so many play dates for him because everybody keeps calling me.
I have all these people calling me all the time. I'm like, why are they calling me now to do things?
My agent took him to a spa for the day.
No way.
He's like, I am in a spa. And I had my girlfriend. I'm like, give me those things. And because the moment, you don't have to be in any pain today. You really don't. This is the best decision in my life. All I can say is I'm over the moon. Actually, I was with my surgeon yesterday. You're going to die laughing, but I've just done my ears. Because I didn't like my earlobes.
Actually, I'm not coming back LA. I'm not coming back to LA. Literally, every time we come,
something gets cut off.
Something. It's like, oh no, I'm just doing my
girlfriend. I'm staying at the same girlfriend's house that I recovered in. She goes, I called her up and she goes, oh, do you want to go out shopping on Monday? This was last week. And I go, well, I can't. I'm going to go and get my ears done. She goes, this isn't a recovery center. She's like, I don't understand. Literally. Every time you come here, she's like him. She doesn't do anything. So she's like, every time you come here, you end up in my bed with bandages.
Let me tell you who Caroline is. So she finished the facelift. I'm so mad at her because I'm fuming. Oh my God. This, all the time. We're on the way home. I drop her one moment and she jumps into another place to do her nose.
Oh my God.
Oh yes.
I literally wanted to kill her. I got so mad with her.
No, because I wanted to do the little tip of my nose. So I popped into Simon Oriane to do just a little bit of filler there because I was leaving.
Oh yeah.
When was I going to do it? I live in another country.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, my husband should not be in LA.
Yeah.
No, he needs to stay home.
Well, I understand your perspective as well. And that's what my ex said and my current boyfriend. I've been like, oh, I want to do this and this. And I think to a guy, the fear is that you're going to look different. And exactly what you said. I fell in love with, my ex said that same thing to me. He's like, I fell in love with you, your essence, who you are, and how you look. So when you go and start changing things, I think that it can be difficult, but you still look like yourself, just refreshed.
Oh my God.
And that's what good surgery should do.
No, this is my podcast. We just saw a picture on Bravo. What was it? Some memes, because I introduced one of the new housewives in Miami, and it was my old face. And I was like, I was a bubble. I couldn't even open my eyes. I did an upper blep. I could not open my eyes. You're going to be shocked. I have to find this picture just to show you.
That is very interesting. So from her side, it's like that. But from my side, because, I love her, I didn't realize, like how was he looking at. I didn't see all that like fluffy hair on the neck. Because for me, it was just normal. But then obviously now, seeing the results, it looks amazing.
Look at I'm a bubble.
Wow. You look insane.
Who is that person?
Incredible.
My face is half the size. Well, you can.
Yeah, I pulled it up to that one.
I have no qualms about it, ladies. Best thing, they took out all the filler. My face had got wider from doing all the jawline. The eyes were just because I had hooded eyes, but I didn't lift them. And I think that's really important. When you lift them, you get that crazy look. I mean, maybe I will in a few years, you never know, but I'm really happy, and my surgeon's a genius.
Yeah, what else are you doing? Because I know you did laser recently.
Oh my
right?
God, so that changed my life. So obviously being 49, I've got fake boobs. So when you lie down, you get these dreadful lines here.
I use patches, silicone patches.
Sorry, I did a longevity thing yesterday. So this is just a heart monitor. So they're going to tell me in the next 5 days how my heart works. I'm doing this whole program in San Diego, which is amazing. So they just put this on me for 5 days. So there's nothing wrong with me. It's just monitoring everything to see there's no, when you sleep, you don't have an apnea or anything. Anyway, so I had lines here from here to here. My skin was kind of like that, sort of dry from being in the sun. I live in Dubai. And since I've been here, I have been stopped so much about my skin. Let me tell you, I go to have lasers, and that is life-changing. It changes everything, literally. I would say, either a neck lift at this age or lasers.
What lasers are you doing?
BLB, Pico, Ultra Clear.
What's
those
BLB?
three.
I don't know that one.
BLB, no idea.
Okay.
But I've done it.
On your face and body?
And body.
Okay. Because your face skin too is like insane.
Thank you.
Insane.
And it's all from those. I do all three. And the Pico, because I had very bad freckles and sunspots, and she got all of that with Pico. Again, I probably should know what they all do, but I don't. But they are absolutely amazing. And the other thing I did do in my chest lines, which was a game changer, was PRP. So just those three things. It is expensive. I do understand that, but I do feel like it all changed.
Oh my God, you have no lines. And it's that trifecta. It's the BLB, Pico, and what was the third one?
Ultra Clear.
Ultra Clear.
Ultra Clear, BLB, and Pico.
And you do them all together at the same time?
No.
Oh.
So I think she does two. I think she does the Ultra Clear and the Pico, and then she does the BLB.
So those are probably ablative, right?
What?
So ablative is like when you have like crusting, scabbing.
Okay, so I think the BLB is scabbing, which is, I did the Pico just before I got here. The Pico also does, because she actually targets the brown spots with that. So skin damage. And she did all my face with that, and it just made everything clear up. So, and I was kind of against doing all of those just because I live in the Middle East. And so when they say you can't go in the sun, I'm like, we're speaking English. Yeah, I live in the sun, but actually it's fine. And I wear hats anyway. And we're under umbrellas, and I don't know, life is fine. But I have never had so many compliments on my skin as I have since I did all those. So I do believe that you can take years off you like that. Sure. And you said the same. It's changed everything, how different I look.
Yeah, I know it. What a time to be alive. I'm so thankful for lasers.
They paused the show and nobody got to see. I mean, you got to see my new face in the reunion.
It's insane. I mean, I'm just sorry. I'm like staring.
Thank you.
But it's everything. Your hair looks amazing. Your skin.
Thank you so much.
The face.
See, he gave me a lot of, because I came here in Dubai, it's very hard to get a good blonde. They go very orange. And so I spent a fortune. I think I spent $1,700 having my hair redone, which I don't do often. It's once you've got it, you can kind of copy the formula, but like it was amazing and it's changed everything. And I've had so much social media, everyone going, oh my God, your hair is amazing. Oh my God, it changed. It took another 5-10 years off me too.
Yeah.
You know, it really has. I mean, so I think it was worth every single penny and I would do it all over again. I mean, I was staying with Tommy Hilfiger and Dee and they both said to me, she asked me for my hair.
Yeah.
Why? She's like, I need to go straight down there. And he said, Tommy was like, Dee, you need to cut your hair immediately.
Yeah, it looks amazing. What are your other beauty non-negotiables?
I just think that those are my non-negotiables. I love salmon sperm now. I do that religiously, but I don't do
injection.
Yes, the injections, which are deeper. They do burn a little bit, ladies. So I would suggest if you do get the chance to try them. But numb your face. And the other big one that changed my life, and he's actually here. I'm going to see him later today. Is Sandrio, my hormone doctor. Yeah. So I sent Denise Richards. I sent I love him. I do the testosterone pellet. You know, he was the one that started me on peptides and all that. And I do it in the Middle East now at my clinic, which I think we're the only clinic in the Middle East that does it. And that's for women our age. I mean, you may still be a little bit young, but like there is a lot of things that you can do hormonally and, you know, GHK, copper peptides.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah,
That
really.
one is amazing.
You notice a big difference.
Big difference. Your skin shines
I was doing it
from
for
within.
a while
You
and I didn't know. But it happened.
But you're young.
I
Your
was doing
skin
it
is very
around
shiny.
oh, thank you. I was doing it right before the whole Botox thing happened. So I had to stop like only a couple
everything.
months
so
in.
maybe it was all of it. And NAD, I love. I mean, I need things for energy. So I do all of these things, which I'm very lucky I can continue over there. But I found that did change my whole being. You know, I don't get as tired. Look, I've done how many hours of this now?
Insane.
And I'm good to go.
Yeah, amazing. What's your philosophy on aging now? Or like, how do you feel? I hear from a lot of women that going from 40s to 50s is easier than 30s to 40s. And you were talking in the beginning about how comfortable and confident you feel at this time in your life. And you give zero fucks, which is something that I think, you know, as you acknowledge, comes with age. Yeah, the older you get, the less you care.
I think the best thing is if you feel good about yourself, right? And I feel good about myself. Look, I'm not saying that I look like a 20-year-old, right? But I do feel for my age, I look good. I'm well put together. I've learned the makeups that work for me, right? I was a slave to my makeup artist for so many years. And I understood actually, I mean, some of the pictures of myself are horrifying. Like I look like a clown, way too much makeup. And I've understood actually weirdly at this age, I need less, not more, right? And then because I had these, you know, very closed eyes, they would try and open it up with these colors and all of this stuff. And now I'm like really finding myself, I can do my own makeup. He's so proud of me. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but I mean, it's taken me 49 years to master my own makeup. And, you know, changing your skin tone, like makeup should be changed like it is your wardrobe, right? As you get older. So the tones that suit you, and only you can really do that. Going into a store with other people that have a certain box with them that they can only use those colors. Like once I'd found the makeup that worked on my skin, it was so easy for me. You can't really go wrong. I mean, I don't know why I've been paying so much money all these years. And then there are things like your clothes, finding the right clothes that work for your body type at our age as well, that can really help. I just feel like everything at once. I had time to really figure out who I was rather than other people tell me who I am through styling or makeup artists or hair or whatever, because you're in a show. So you kind of just want someone to do it for you.
Amazing. Well, I have some this or that rapid fire to close this out.
Okie dokie.
We kind of talked about this one, but Botox or lasers?
Lasers.
Really? Okay. What about Botox or surgery?
Because by the way, lasers can lift you like Botox.
Yeah.
If you get the right
Yes,
laser.
thank God.
Laser or surgery? Surgery.
Surgery. LA or Dubai?
Dubai.
What do you like about Dubai? I'm curious.
Safety. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
LA
I
is a
don't
shit
have
show right
I
now.
can't believe I'm going to say this. I don't have a house key.
Really? What? Wait, why?
You don't need
Oh,
it.
you just oh.
You know, you can
Wow.
go to Dubai and leave a Rolex on your sun lounger and go for a swim for an hour, and I can guarantee you will be there.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. I can't even. LA,
and it's
as
very
you know,
hard
it's
to
not
go
good
somewhere
right now.
else,
Yeah.
you know, now and be told you can't travel with your makeup. You can't, I mean, it's makeup. What is it? Jewelry. You can't travel with your, you know, handbags. I think about what I'm going to wear here because I'm like, I don't it's a sad way to live. And you guys pay the highest taxes of anyone. And it's like living in a golden cage. I don't worry where my kids are because wherever they are, they're having a good time. I can assure you, and someone's going to return them if they get lost.
Sergio plans the date or you take charge?
Sergio plans the date.
Always?
Yes.
Jet or yacht?
Yacht, probably.
Same. Skincare. Do you have a minimalist routine or maximalist?
Minimalist.
What skincare do you use?
I have got really into Sunday Riley. Actually, I just had her on. I love that woman. What a amazing woman. But I love her stuff. And the other person I really liked was Lara Devon in
Defkin surgeon in New York, right? Yeah,
her stuff's amazing too.
Beauty from within or from treatments?
Treatments.
I love that answer. Old money aesthetic or modern glam?
Modern glam.
Couture or classic?
Classic.
Okay, these other ones we kind of... Oh, heels or barefoot in the villa?
Barefoot every day. I can't even wear... I literally am the worst at walking in heels. I stomp around. It's like the most... I walk like a duck. Yeah.
Well, this was so fun.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. It was amazing.
I hope you'll come on mine.
I would love to. Yeah. Anytime. We'll talk beauty.
Perfect. Sounds amazing.
Where can everybody find you?
They can find me on CarolineStanbury.com, Caroline Stanbury on Instagram, Caroline Stambu on TikTok, which I can't believe anyone finds me, but apparently they do. Where else can they find me, darling? That's it. And uncut and yes, there you go. Forget everything. Uncut and uncensored on all platforms for podcasts. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you.